Hello everyone. So in this video, let us start with our Jira interview question series. So the question is, if you are working on Jira Cloud, let us say Jira Cloud, right? And you are a Jira admin where you have been given a task. Let us say you received a ticket where you have to create a new project in Jira. Maybe there is a team and they ask you in the ticket that could you please create a new project for me, and that project has to be exactly same as some project called as project A, right? So this is the task, and of course, I'm not really giving you multiple choice questions, but you have to explain how would you do it. And you're doing it on Jira Cloud. Let us say there are no apps. You have to use the native capabilities of Jira. So the end goal is that you should have this project B, which should behave exactly same as project A. So you can, think about it, and then you can, if you want, you can actually pause the video. But let me tell you how you could do it. So when you clone, we are not really cloning anything here, but when you are asked to create a clone project, basically a project with similar configuration or same configurations. So of course on Jira Cloud, you can create a project, right? And when you create a new project, there are two things you can do. Number one, you can create a project and then later on go to the project and change the project configurations, right? Basically apply the same schemes that are being used in project A. That is fine, but it will of course take some time. Not a massive amount of time, but it will take some time. The other thing that you can do is when you create a new project in Jira, then you have the option to create a project with shared configurations. So this will of course be quick. So you can create a project and you will select this option that I want to create project A, where I want to reuse the configurations, like shared configurations from project A. Now this is fine, but this is not usually enough. So what you need to also do, you also need to take a look at the context of the custom fields. So if your project A, let us say, usually in every project in Jira, people want to add custom fields, and if they have been using custom fields, then most likely there will be a context. And if there is a context, then you have to also make sure that you modify the context of those fields to include project B as well. So this is something that you need to do, and this is usually enough, to be honest. But in some cases, or if I have to do this, what I will also do is when you create a new project in Jira, of course, depending upon the type of project, let us say if it is a software project, so you should also ask the requester of that project, like who should be the project lead, and you should also ask them if they want us to add maybe some initial people who can who might be working on that project, like just to help them in the beginning, although project admins should do this. But if they, I think it is always good to ask, right? Like just to, when you're working with people like users in this case, right? Users are people, but I'm talking about Jira users. You should try to help them, try to solve their problems, try to make things very easy for them. So if you offer them that, okay, you want to be the lead, we can make you the lead. But do you want us to also add some people initially for you? So we can do that, not a problem. And also at the same time, depending upon like in which company you're working, not always, but if you already have some documentation, like how to work on a new project, then or maybe for that particular configuration, then also share that documentation with them, like so that they can get started. So from your side, of course, try to help them, try to give them some initial pointers so that even if they have to survive without you, they can. So I thought I'll probably share this so that you can also think about how you would approach it. Now this is of course manual way of doing it. You can potentially automate it, but and by the way, on my channel, if you go to my Jira REST API series, I have plenty of videos, and I think I have covered how to create a project. So you can also automate this. You can also create a project using Jira automations. So that is also a possibility. So this is something that I thought I'll cover. And of course, if I am interviewing for a new Jira admin, this would be a question for someone maybe junior, right? So someone who already has been doing Jira admin stuff for a while, but at the same time, this question, the level of this question is probably for a junior position, right? And what else? So one thing that I should also mention is, if you are dealing with users or project roles, ideally you should have I talked about documentation, right? And that documentation should actually talk about, or it should list what permissions these different project roles will have. Because even if you create a project in Jira, that project is, even after using all the schemes, even after setting up the context, it might not work exactly the same. And on Jira Cloud, or I should say, I think on Jira Cloud, it should probably be not big of a problem. But if you're on Jira Data Center, sometimes people also use scripted fields, and those scripted fields might not work. And if you are on Jira Data Center, again, you might have some behaviors, you might have some automations. So it is actually not straightforward at all on Jira Data Center. On Jira Cloud, yes, there are some apps that can have some, that can actually bring in some additional behavior or functionalities. And that is why I mentioned earlier on in the video that let us assume that we are not using any apps, because if you're using any apps, then you might need to do some additional steps. Maybe you are using some plugin that has to be enabled for a specific project. For example, if you're using, let us say, SharePoint connector, so it is a plugin, by the way, it's an app. And if you're using that app, if that app is not really enabled for all the projects, then you have to enable it for some of the projects. So you have to basically do that in your configuration. So yeah, that is all I wanted to talk about in this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you learned something new today. Thank you very much.